Hey y'all, it's Mike White. Well, today I want to talk about the elephant in the room, and that's image resolution. So, this is going to be a fairly long and rambling tutorial. I've got lots to tell you about images, and I think it's going to be very, instructional and teach you a lot, hopefully, if you don't understand resolution or if you have somewhat of an understanding and need a little bit more. So, everybody's been using the new layout designer and getting their DTF transfers printed at 143 vinyl. And some people need some help on understanding image resolutions. And, so I'm just chose elephant because I think they're funny. And I went to Google and I searched for the word elephant and I clicked on the images tab. And I've got this one and this one that I like. So we're also going to talk a little bit about copyrights and using images off the internet. So this one, I don't have the rights to. It's not something that I can use. If I go and look at it, it's just art. It's from this Easy Drawing Guides website. I should not use this image in my designs without getting permission. And really, it's going to be quite difficult for me to use this image, period. So let me show you what I mean. So if I save this, I'm going to save it to my downloads folder. First of all, it saves as a web BP file, so it's not a PNG or even a standard JPEG. And when I hover over it, I can see that it says the dimensions are 680 by 678. So images that we want to print are going to be 300 pixels per inch. And if this one is 680 pixels, it's really only going to be good for about 2.25 inches. Okay, so say you wanted to use this, the only way I've been able to work with WebP files is to actually open them in Paint, and then I'll save them as a PNG. And so that way I can actually, get to the file and work with it in my graphic design software. And I use Photoshop. I use other applications too, but I use Photoshop the most. And so now I've got this open in Photoshop. And if I wanted to try to remove the background, I could use the magic wand tool because I don't want this big white box to print. So I'm going to use the magic wand. I'm going to delete. I'm going to get this little piece inside the tusk. And I think that I've got a nice image. It looks like I should. I'm viewing it at 100% right now. So that's the total size there is. And, I'm going to show you real quick, what I like to do is I hit image trim and then transparent pixels because I don't want that white space. If I uploaded this with that white space around it, all that's going to print. I mean, it's transparent now, so it's not going to actually print, but it's going to waste the size of my design. I mean, I could use it in the layout designer and I could expand it and make sure that it fit the edges in the layout designer. It's so much easier to just trim it in your graphics application. Just get a clean image to start with. Okay, so let's talk about resolution. I've actually seen people say if the resolution is too much or too little, you can just blow it up. So if it's too small, you can just blow it up. And I want to talk to you about pixels real quick. So I'm zooming in here, and I'm going to go way ridiculous on the zoom so that we can see the individual pixels. And so we can see, these are the actual pixels of the document. We're viewing this now at 3,200%. And so that square right there, that black square, this gray square, this white square, that's a pixel. And that pixel has been fixed at that size. So if I blow this image up, it's not going to actually add any more detail. It's going to just expand that pixel. So if I made the image 4 times the size it is now, this pixel, right here is going to be just the same pixel, but 4 pixels. And so it's not going to add detail. It's still going to be the same kind of graininess. In fact, it will actually look worse after I blow this up. So if I do, image size and I make it 4 times the size, let's do 2400, and we hit OK. all it's done is just given us more pixels. It hasn't given us more detail. It's just blown up the pixels. And, the image is actually at the same, level of detail, if you will, as it was before. So there's no reason to just do that. I've just made the image larger with no added value. If I was determined to print this, even though it's very small, I could do that, and it would be best to just upload it at the size it was before, and let the layout designer actually blow it up. Because the more times you expand an image or compress it, either one, if you go up or down in size, you're always losing quality. When you're going down is always okay, as long as you're going down to the size that you need it at. Going up is generally the thing that you don't want to do. But I say you lose quality either direction, because if you shrink an image, you're never going to get that quality back. And that's why it's important to save off originals. So we'll come back to this and work with this a little bit more. For now, let's just export it. I'm just going to quick export as PNG. Yep, right in my downloads folder. And I'm actually just going to replace the original. I haven't lost any quality. It's at the size that it was. Or actually, I say that. No, we expanded it. So let me just put it back to the size it was. And I'm going to just file quick export that as ping. It's hard to work and talk, y'all. All right, so that's done. And then let's look at another image. And this free pick image right here, let's just go visit that website. So this image, is from an actual art asset website. Free pick is a great website. There's lots of images on here. And, if I want to use this image, I can either go premium and pay $12 a month. I don't really want to do that. If I did that on every site I downloaded images from, I'd be in trouble. But I'm going to go ahead and download it. It says I need to attribute this image. So in other words, if I'm going to use this, I need attribution. And so if I were to list this somewhere like on Etsy or on my websites, I would actually want to attribute this website. And you can literally, they make it easy for you. You just copy these details and then just embed that on the page, just to make sure the author and free pick get their attribution for providing you with this image. So this one is downloaded in a zip file. And so we're just going to extract that. And if you don't have an extraction program, you can use 7-Zip. That's a wonderful extraction program. But I'm just using the regular Windows extraction. And then when I open it up, I see that it's a JPEG, but it is 6,384 pixels by 3,700. I mean, it's enormous. And so that's wonderful. This image is way bigger than you're ever going to want to print. A rule of thumb is 3,600 pixels, that's 12 inches. So, we don't usually wear designs that are much bigger than 12 inches wide or tall. And so, this one is almost twice that wide, and it's at least 12 inches tall with that 3,700 pixels. Okay, so I'm just going to open that up in Photoshop. And this one, lots of differences from the other. I've got such a big image to work with. I'm just going to right-click here and do Layer from Background, so it makes a layer. And then I can just delete the white. And I have the same little white inside the tusk. I always like to grab, catch all those little mistakes and problems. And I mean, it's just done a gorgeous job because I started with such a high-res image. It's really done a good job. I mean, if I want to get picky, I could come in here and get this stuff off the tail. But I'm fine with that, actually. I think it's going to look just fine. And actually, that'll keep it from getting lost on a black background. So I'm just going to let this go. This is perfect. I'm still probably going to trim. So we'll trim on transparent pixels and just get rid of a little bit of that white space. And then I'm going to export it as ping. So I don't need it this big. I'm planning on printing this, let's say 12 inches wide. So I'm just going to hit Save for Web. I'm going to make sure I have PNG 24 selected. And that takes a second, especially with an image this large and my computer's kind of slow. It's going to sit here and process that We'll just wait for it. Okay, it's done. And you can scoot it around and you can see, what you're doing here. And I'm just going to change this width. The max that I'm going to use this at is 3600. I just don't need it to be that big. And that'll save time on the upload. I mean, gosh, it'll save on the 143 vinyl servers. This file size you're uploading will be smaller. And I just never see myself printing it larger than 12 inches wide. So, why waste that hard drive space? Why waste that virtual memory? There's no reason. So I'm just going to save that and save that right in my downloads folder. Okay, well, that wasn't as long or as rambling as I thought it would be. So hopefully this helps, and you know a little bit more about image resolution and how to find a big image to start with, and that way you're going to have a great result. Oh, I got one last little tip. If you upload an image and it's saying something like, it needed 3600 pixels for the size that you have it on the stage, but you have 1800 pixels, it's probably going to look okay. I mean, that's 150 pixels per inch. The layout designer will blow it up for you and make it, look nice as it can with what it's got. And it's still going to look good. But if it's like 600 and you're trying to print it at 3600, it's going to be fuzzy. It works. You can do it. It's just not going to possibly be the quality that you wanted it to be. Okay. Thank you guys. Have a great day.